Unless you drag me up.
There's horses on the air. Now I want to know, we kind of want to be in the action and then cut right to it, rather than us going and then acting, if we can do it.
Well, you want a 30.
Gene's going to say the first thing.
What should I say? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the cultural aspect of MCAT. And just a second, Rich. For culture, we're going to start out with my playing some cultural tunes.
Christy, go to
Hey,
Christy.
now wait a second. Hey, Rich, I said shit right down there that I was going to play some cultural tunes to get this started off. You don't mind?
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, now wait.
Christy, help!
No.
Now you boys behave.
All right.
I'm Christy Dodson. Happy Earth Day. I'm going to sing a song written by Jonathan Edwards called God's Green Earth. On God's green earth, a golden sun shines down. On God's green earth, the fields are red and brown. The silver rain of springtime brings the miracle of birth. There's room for every color here on God's green earth. God made the night, took away the light, made the colors blend into a single shade. God made the day, took the night away, so we could see how it was meant to be. In God's blue sky, sometimes the gray clouds blow, and storms may arise from the land down below. And all the different colors forget each other's worth. They clash with one another here on God's green earth. So God made the night, took away the night, made the colors fade into a single shade. God could see how it was meant to be on God's green earth. A golden sun shines down on God's green earth. The fields are red and brown. The silver rain of springtime brings the miracle of birth. There's room for every color here on God's green earth. There's room for every color here on God's green earth.
Way to go, Christy. Oh, it's hot in here. With me today is Gene Bernowski. Gene recently did a film called Diet Coke Montana, and we're going to be able to watch it in about 10 minutes. But now we're going to talk about it with our audience and Christy and our sock. This is a cabbage. I asked the audience to dress as animals or possibly bring a totem representing their favorite animal. Mine is a sea cow, and they like cabbage.
Well, Rich,
Gene?
I have a special announcement before we show this film. And people will be happy to know that on Earth Day, the city has decided to positively build the bridge, the pollution-free bridge across the Clark Fork. Now, as you know, there's been controversy over whether to build it on the east side of the Orange Street Bridge or on the west side of the Orange Street Bridge. The two groups have gotten together and they've reached a compromise, so they'll both be happy. Had you heard about that?
No.
Yeah.
Happy Earth Day.
Now, the interesting thing about this bridge is the mayor has found a way to save us $200,000 by building the bridge out of old cars. Now, there's a lot of old cars, as you know, that have been rip-wrapped on the Bitterroot River, down by Lolo. There's hundreds and hundreds of them down there up against the banks. And the mayor has gotten together with Bruce Vincent of the Log Hall, and he's going to come down here with his couple of logging trucks, and they're going to pull these cars right out of those riverbanks. And Bruce said he'd bring them right down to the Orange Street Bridge, and we're just going to weld them right across the bridge. That way we can have pollution-free access across the bridge for everybody that wants to go across. The children, guys like Rich, people like Christy Dotson, the cameramen here, the cultural commissars, whoever wants to be able to get across the bridge can, and still feel as if they're with their cars. That's the beauty of it. Bridges are for cars, we know that. But if we build it out of auto bodies, then we'll be able to remove those cars from the Bitterroot and put them here across the Clark Fork where they belong. There is, you haven't heard about this, Rich?
That's fat. I'm
There is a
pleased.
hitch.
A trailer hitch.
Well, there's a serious hitch.
There's a
Bruce
hitch.
Vincent said he'd help us out, but there is one hitch.
Lay it on me.
No? All right. This hasn't gotten out yet. Now, here it is. He wants to, while he's down here, as you know, the prices of maple are rising, and he wants to clear cut the town. So Bruce figures that clear clutter, clear klutz. We're all going to have to learn to live with these, right? And we may as well learn to live with them right here at home. So he wants to start out by clear cutting Missoula, and then he'll branch out to other towns, provide lots of good jobs.
Jobs are important.
And I think that the Maples, they have an agreement with the Mansfield Center for those maples to get shipped to, what's the name of that country? Help me.
Japan?
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
When did you get interested in filmmaking?
Now, filmmaking is something I've been interested in a long time. In fact, I realized that we're here on TV, but I brought my camera, which I got about 30 years ago when I was just in high school. And I've been using this camera ever since. This is the camera that I use. I realize this is TV, but I wanted to bring a movie camera down here, 16 millimeter movie camera, so folks can see an actual movie camera. The one that was used to shoot this film, Diet Coke, Montana. There it is. See, that's all you need. This is what I put in a canoe and went down at Bitterroot and filmed some of the auto habitat. We live in a world of auto habitat. It's very important to us. That habitat is for everything, from the beginning to the end. Well, you can go to you just relax, Rich. Have you ever been to the gas station here in town? There's a gas station here in town. You can get your car filled up with gas and get your clothes washed at the same time. Okay? That says something. Well, here it is, 16 millimeter camera. This is what we used to film it. And what I do is I turn my hat around like this. Okay. You know why I turn my hat around like that? When I'm filming? Why do you think I turn my hat around?
Why?
Huh? Yeah, bump into the camera. I don't want any bumps. So we don't use a tripod.
Because he's a Mets fan.
See, I don't use a tripod. There's no... You get ready, you guys. There's no wires. There's no batteries. There's no earphones. There's not a big bunch of electronic equipment between me and what I want to film. All right? And these films are totally non-commercial films. I'm not doing these films to make money. In fact, they don't make money. And they never will. And you'll see why when you see this film, Diet Coke, Montana. In fact, this is my first wildlife film that I ever made. And I made it specifically for the Wildlife Film Festival. And I want to report to you now that that film was panned by all... Did I? The film was panned by all the judges at the Wildlife Film Festival. And that's probably because they've never seen a black and white wildlife film since Nanook of the North. This is probably the first time a black and white wildlife film has been made since Nanook of the North.
Oh.
All right, now you guys get ready on these cameras. I'm going to stand up. I can't shoot sitting down. All right. And what we do with this camera, the film you're going to see is done on a spring wind. I don't need batteries. I can hold this thing with one hand. I can go anywhere. I can hold it upside down and shoot. And in fact, I have done that. And you will see shots in this film where the camera was held upside down. For example, there was a big batch of dead ducks in the water. And they were just floating right down the stream. And I held the camera upside down and shot the dead ducks so they looked like they were up in the blue sky. It's a trick I learned when I was just a youngster. And what you do is you just wind this camera up like this. This is a spring wind camera. This is the same original spring wind that I had 30 years ago when I first got this camera. It's an old Bolex, for those of you that are interested. That's all it is. And then you hit the button, and you hear that? It's a sound I love. Now, there's film in here right now. See? Let me film these cameramen, the MCAT cameramen. They're getting... I don't even have to look through the lens. I can do whatever I want with this camera. It's not in a tripod. I can turn it upside down. I don't even have to set the f-stop. See? Getting Christy Dotson, there's people in the audience, doing a pan. One thing I learned, I never went to camera school, or I never went to film school. See, the way I learned how to make films was by making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of mistakes. Here's how I sometimes do a pan. And you'll see some of these pans. I'm standing up in the canoe. You'll see it. That's why when you see the rip-rap cars, it's going to look kind of funny. That's why you have to understand that this is non-commercial filmmaking, something that I've been doing for a long time. Never made a penny at it. And in fact, for all the films that I have made, and I've made a lot of them, why, nobody but some of my friends have helped me, occasionally with some support. And you'll probably understand why when you see this film. But if you want to do a pan with a camera like this, and you don't have a tripod or anything, a pan is when you go from one side to the other, and they tell you in film school, you want to go slow like this, and go slow on a pan like that. See that? Go slow on a pan. And that way the image won't shake or wobble. You want to go slow. Well, I don't have to follow those rules. I don't have to follow any rules. In fact, I never knew there were any rules until I grew up. But what I do when I do a pan is, sometimes, like I'll do a pan, you'll see this in the film, but I want you to know what you're seeing. I never got to talk to the judges at the Wildlife Film Festival. They thought it was all inept. And in fact, there was one person there, one of the judges realized, gee, maybe this guy's doing this on purpose. Well, you darn tootin', doing it on purpose. And when you see the picture go like that, that's because the camera operator is doing a pan like this. I'm not even looking through the lens. I don't have to. I know where it's shooting. See, so I just hold it, push the button, let that thing go. Then there's a lever here. I go up and down. Can you get a close-up of this? Get a close-up of this lever. This lever goes, well, you probably can't. You see that lever? Look at that lever in that thing. It's too small to get a close-up of. But you can see that knob spinning. That camera's on. Okay? Let me wind it up. I'm running out of spring. That's why you'll see, when you see this film, there's going to be a cut on this film about every 30 seconds, because that's all the spring is good for. Now, big Hollywood stuff, they can go forever because they're all wired up. They have batteries and electricity and everything, but they can't go into the field, just one person, really inexpensively doing films. And now that I've done my first wildlife film, if I still have another 100 or so years to live, I can make a lot more of these, because there sure is a lot of them that need to be made. I could do them. Rich, is there any questions you want to ask me? You were supposed to ask me questions.
Well, Gene, we have about a minute left.
Maybe some of the children had a question. We only got a minute left. You guys wanted to ask something about... Want me to pass this camera around?
No.
Huh? You're crazy. Pass this around. Kidding me. Forget it. The only person that can touch this are my two sons. They've had experience. But you always want to grab it by here. This camera has never been dropped except in the Bitterroot River. A couple of times. Doesn't hurt it. I just open it up and air it out.
Underwater photography?
No, then it was. We got some underwater photography. Thanks, Dan. That's what that was.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Gene Bernofsky. Well, I'd like you to say goodbye now. We've got about 30, 40 seconds before we show the film. Do you have like a consummate artist statement to make?
Well, yeah, I do. And that is that this film is 14 minutes long. Do your best to watch it all the way through, because at the end there's a good shot.
Bye. And audience, thank you very much. Can we see Christy? Bye.
The Bitterroot River in far western Montana flows north 84 miles from Connor to Missoula, Montana, where it joins the Clark Fork River at Kelly Island. The Salish Indians called it Ootlashoots, Red Willow River. From 1842 until 1870, the Salish chief, Little Bear Claw, resisted government pressure to abandon his Bitterroot Valley hunting ground for the reservation. The Indians called it spetlum, the bitterroot plant. The root was a staple food for the Salish, the Pend d'Oreille, and the Kootenai Indians. The bloom is the state flower of Montana. In early August of 1877, Chief Looking Glass, fighting removal to the reservation, evaded a U.S. Army blockade in the Lolo Valley. Here, among friendly Bitterroot settlers, he led 5 bands of non-treaty Nez Perce Indians up the Bitterroot Valley, following the western bank of the river. 800 men, women, and children, with 2,000 horses. Lean Elk, leader of a band of Nez Perce buffalo hunters who lived in the Bitterroot Valley, joined the Patriots in their drive for sanctuary in Canada. The Nez Perce were pursued up the Bitterroot by a force from the 7th U.S. Infantry commanded by Colonel John Gibbon. Captain Meriwether Lewis of the Lewis and Clark expedition described the Bitterroot River in his journal, September 1806. "It is a handsome stream," he wrote, "about 100 yards wide, and affords a considerable quantity of very clear water. The banks are low, and its bed entirely gravel." This riparian habitat includes many species of wildlife. Endangered and threatened osprey and bald eagle are present in the Bitterroot River ecosystem. Big game animals forage in the valley. Moose and an occasional elk graze the river verges, particularly in winter and early spring. Beaver, river otter, mink, muskrat, and other small mammals are native to the ecosystem. In addition to fish mortality caused by chronic dewatering, the Bitterroot loses a significant number of fish to irrigation canals in the dewatered segment. Almost all of the major ditches contain trout that would otherwise reside in the river. Ditch shutdown in the fall strands large numbers of fish, significantly harming the fishery. Sculpin, red-sided dace, northern pike, sucker, squawfish, whitefish, brook and brown trout, rainbow and cutthroat inhabit the river. Several species of hawks use the waterway, including Swainson's hawk, red-tailed, goshawk, kestrel, sharp-shinned hawk, rough-legged hawk, and the marsh hawk. The fish and the hawks feed on large populations of aquatic insects such as stoneflies, damselflies, mayflies, caddisflies, and mosquito. River trout prefer to spawn in tributary streams with clean gravel bottoms. Rainbow trout spawn in these tributaries in early spring, and the fertilized eggs, buried within the gravel, hatch during late May or early June. trout fry emerge from the gravel during mid-June and begin to migrate to the river to take up residence. Because such tributaries are rare in the lower Bitterroot River, spawners and juvenile trout have to make a long and precarious journey. Just beyond the town of Stevensville, Montana, the river defines the western boundary of the Lee Metcalf National Wildlife Refuge. Metcalf, a Bitterroot Valley native and congressman from Montana, was noted for his leadership in preserving wilderness areas. The refuge encompasses a 2,700-acre habitat with over 160 species of resident and migrant birds and waterfowl. Central to the habitat ecosystem of the Bitterroot River are the mountain chains which parallel each side of the valley. To the west of the waterway is the Bitterroot Range of the Rockies. Formed about 80 million years ago, the upper levels of the range were strongly glaciated about 10,000 BC and contain many cirques and U-shaped valleys. The forest includes ponderosa pine, lodgepole and white pine, grand fir and Douglas fir. The range drains to the Columbia River via the Clark Fork River on the east and the Clearwater and Salmon on the west. The abrupt east slope is a fault scarp, difficult to access, and few main roads cross this range. To the east of the Bitterroot Valley, the Sapphire chain of the Rockies flank the river. 12,000 years ago, the slopes of the Sapphires were smoothed by the advancing and receding waters of glacial Lake Missoula. Deposits of mudstones and quartzites, tumbled and polished by the river for many millennia, compose the stream bed and provide habitat for the river's biotic community. On April 29, 1805, Captain Merriweather wrote in his journal comparing grizzly to black bears. It is a much more furious and formidable animal than the black bear, and will frequently pursue the hunter when wounded. It is astonishing to see the wounds they will bear before they can be put to death. The Indians may well fear this animal, equipped as they generally are, with their bows and arrows and indifferent fuses. But in the hands of skillful riflemen, they are by no means as formidable or dangerous as they have been represented. After Captain Lewis had more experience with grizzlies, this comment appears in his journal for May 11, 1805. These bear, being so hard to die, rather intimidates us all. I must confess that I do not like the gentleman, and had rather fight 2 Indians than 1 bear. The specialized evolutionary adaptations of the grizzly bear have not allowed that omnivore to compete at all with the white man in the Bitterroot Valley ecosystem. Grizzly evolution adapted the bear to feed efficiently on vegetation. The molar teeth of the grizzly bear have become flat, grinding surfaces which closely resemble those of omnivorous pigs. Understanding the significance of this development is the key to grizzly bear ecology and behavior. The grizzly is adapted for heavy chewing and can bite hard. Since most chewing occurs on the molars far back in the mouth, Powerful muscles have evolved to allow grinding by the molars. The jaws and teeth of the grizzly do more than eat green vegetation and berries. They must crush and grind tubers, roots, and bulbs. The grizzly bear is also an opportunistic predator and will prey on animals from ground squirrel to moose. After all, a successful grizzly is a well-fed grizzly. By the mid-1800s, however, the grizzly bear had been exterminated from the Bitterroot Valley ecosystem by professional hunters hired by federal agencies, livestock associations, and large ranches. Grizzlies were poisoned, trapped, and hunted on a full-time basis. No sign remains today of the estimated 100 grizzly of the Bitterroot Valley ecosystem.
The Wild Rockies are a 1,000-mile-long stretch of mountains in the states of Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Oregon, and Washington, and the Canadian provinces of British Columbia and Alberta. This area is larger than New England and contains some of the wildest lands found in North America. Rare and endangered wildlife, like the grizzly bear, gray wolf, and bald eagle, still roam these mountains. Pristine trout-filled rivers flow clean and pure. In fact, the Wild Rockies form the major headwaters of America's greatest streams, sending water to the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic Oceans. But today, the largest remaining concentration of wild lands outside of Alaska is threatened. The Wild Rockies have become America's endangered wilderness. The Wild Rockies are a distinct bioregion containing 5 major ecosystems. The Northern Continental Divide ecosystem is located along the U.S.-Canadian border in Montana, Alberta, and British Columbia. From the high, rugged peaks of the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park to the pristine waters of the Rocky Mountain front, the Northern Continental Divide ecosystem represents one of the largest intact wildland areas in North America. This international ecosystem includes the vast Bob Marshall Wilderness Area, with its wildlife-rich valleys, parallel drainages, and snow-capped peaks. A large protected area like the Bob Marshall serves as a genetic bank account for future generations. Scenic vistas abound everywhere, whether it is Glacier National Park or the beautiful Mission Mountains Wilderness. This wildland area provides habitat for abundant herds of wildlife and an array of unusual plant life. However, many areas of the Northern Continental Divide ecosystem are threatened by timber sales, oil and gas drilling, and other developments. The Greater Yellowstone ecosystem is located in the states of Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. The Greater Yellowstone ecosystem is famous for features such as Old Faithful Geyser and world-famous wildlife herds. Here you will find the stunningly beautiful alpine country of Grand Teton National Park, the thermal basins of Yellowstone, the nation's last wild bison herd, and other national treasures. Wildlife numbers are on an African scale, and the ecosystem contains diverse landforms, including glaciated tundra. The Greater Yellowstone ecosystem is huge, covering over 7 million acres, but it may not be large enough for Yellowstone's most famous resident, the endangered grizzly bear. A single male grizzly may require up to 1,000 square miles as living space, and habitat is rapidly disappearing. Much of the Yellowstone wilderness is protected as national park and wilderness areas, but this area, Centennial Range, is not. It serves as a vital connecting link between Yellowstone and other ecosystems in the wild Rockies. Yellowstone has also become famous for wildfires. Many people thought that all of Yellowstone had been burned and destroyed in the summer of '88. But when the snows of fall and winter quenched the fires, people saw that not all the trees had burned. Fire is a regenerating force. With the warmth of spring, the rebirth started and life began anew. However, Yellowstone, the world's first national park, lies under a shroud of developmental threats. The central Idaho ecosystem is located mainly in Idaho, with a small portion in Montana. The central Idaho ecosystem encompasses the Salmon River country and the largest designated wilderness area in the lower 48. Unprotected areas include the high country of the White Cloud Mountains and the giant trees of the Mallard-Larkins region. These ancient cedars have stood since the continent's first human inhabitants lived here, in harmony with wild nature. Evidence of their presence is still found throughout the area. Wild rivers run as free as they did when the first explorers came to the region, and high alpine lakes await the hardy hiker. But the sun may be setting for the last time on the vast wildlands of central Idaho. The Canadian Parks ecosystem straddles the Continental Divide on the British Columbia-Alberta border. The rugged beauty of the Canadian Rockies is legendary the world over. The Ice Age has never really left this area of vast national and provincial parks. The geologic forces of the glaciers still carve the jagged mountains. High peaks and glaciers stretch as far as the eye can see. sending waters spilling out of the mountains to feed the great rivers of Western Canada. But much of this great region remains unprotected from harmful developments. The Hells Canyon ecosystem is located along the Snake River in the states of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. The Hells Canyon of the Snake River is the deepest canyon in North America. It's over 7,000 feet deep. Its unique ecosystem contains diverse wildlife and is the ancestral home of the Nez Perce Indians and their famous leader, Chief Joseph. Much of this area lies within the Hells Canyon National Recreation Area. However, large trees, such as this ancient ponderosa pine, are being logged by the U.S. Forest Service within the recreation area. Equally important as the major ecosystems are the various mountain ranges which serve as biological connectors for the wild Rockies. Typically 1 million acres or less in size, these areas provide vital habitat for wildlife and outdoor recreation. Though not as well known as the major ecosystems, their survival as wildlands is critical to the future of the wild Rockies. Without them, the major ecosystems will become islands in a sea of development, soon to be overtaken by the waves. Biological diversity is directly dependent on these wild mountains. The wild Rockies are home to a diverse array of wildlife. This unique American heritage includes animals such as bighorn sheep, a wide variety of birds, moose, and coyotes. These animals depend on wildlands for many of their needs. After a long absence, the wild Rockies once again hear the howl of the gray wolf. Wolf recovery will be directly related to wilderness lands. The grizzly bear also depends on wilderness. Many say the bear is wilderness, reduced to 1% of their former numbers and pinched down to 1% of their former range. The big bears are losing their remaining habitat to development rapidly. Traditionally, it has been thought that development of our wilderness lands is the best economic use of those lands.
And it's pretty hard to live on snowballs and scenery. It just doesn't feed the family. I think the people of Montana have had about all the wilderness that they can stand. I don't think they're anti-wilderness. I think that they are anti-additional wilderness. And I think that is the situation that the timber industry and the mining industry and any of the resource users are in right now. I think they've had enough wilderness.
But preserving the wilderness can also produce economic benefits.
In a very real sense, those wild forested mountains provide the backdrop that supports the entire way of life in the Northern Rockies. The culture, the style of life, the activities, the way that people go about providing for their families is in large measure dictated by the wild character of that landscape. That land is not simply a storehouse to be exploited by large corporations. That's not the way the people who live here think about that land. And that's not the role that that land is currently playing in the local economy. The area also draws temporary visitors, tourists, who have become a more and more important part in supporting local economic activity. To focus on the extractive side of things is to focus on the past. It's to plan economic development by looking into a rear-view mirror. People don't come here to see huge, yawning, open-pit mines. They don't come here so that they can see hundreds of clear cuts scattered around. There's obviously an important element of truth in that. Extractive industries have been important in the northern Rockies. But with the change in the economy, that dependence upon the extractive industries has been steadily shrinking. And what has become more and more apparent is that those wildlands plug into the local economy in a far more thorough and subtle and complicated way in determining local economic well-being.
Our wilderness and wildlands provide a multitude of uses, including fishing, hiking, boating, hunting, and education, to name just a few. Not only does the wilderness provide unique experiences and economic benefits, other resources in these areas are of lower than average value.
Well, one of the problems with forestry in many of the roadless areas of the northern Rockies is that the Forest Service just cannot sell the timber in there and make a profit at it. The roadless areas frequently are in steep terrain and high elevations, and this makes logging costs very expensive. Building logging roads into those areas is very expensive. They frequently cost over $50,000 a mile and sometimes cost over $100,000 a mile to build. In addition, trees in those areas are frequently small, which increases logging costs again because more pieces have to be handled. Furthermore, the small trees do not yield high-valued products like the large trees do. The consequence is that the Forest Service doesn't make enough revenue to cover their costs of planning the timber sales and administering them.
National forests in the wild Rockies lose tens of millions of dollars each year on timber sales, adding to the federal budget deficit. Taxpayers are literally paying for the destruction of our last remaining wilderness areas. The Forest Service has allowed these below-cost sales right up to wilderness and national park boundaries. Biologists have warned that road building and clear cutting in roadless areas can reduce populations of elk and other species and can lead to shorter, more restrictive hunting seasons. Other problems can result as well. Bert Bowler is a biologist with the Idaho Fish and Game Department.
Some of the problems that occur when you log massive areas, clear-cut areas, and construct a lot of roads, the sediments that's produced from those roads actually ends up in the stream bottom, and that can have some serious effects on fish populations. The sand and the silt actually filters into the stream bottom and seals it up and reduces the amount of living space for aquatic organisms, aquatic insects, eggs that are buried in the gravel from fish. Basically reduces the biotic potential for the stream in terms of producing fish and aquatic life.
Unfortunately, the practice of clear cutting is increasing in the wild Rockies, particularly on private lands. A growing number of people are becoming concerned.
I feel the industry's had a free rein on our forests long enough, and there must be a balance once and for all. And I think the wildland preservation or the wilderness issue is the balance right there. Wilderness is not going to cost anybody their jobs, especially the loggers. And after 20 years, I started logging in '65. After 20-some years of logging, I have not once seen the benefit of clear cut.
Not only do clear cuts reduce wildlife and wilderness, but the machinery required for such operations eliminates timber jobs as well. Sawyers, such as this one, are an increasingly rare sight in the woods, as they are being replaced by automated cutters. They can cut a larger volume of timber, which feeds large mills, such as this one. But there may not be enough trees in the wild Rockies to feed the appetites of these mills. Another major threat to the wild Rockies is oil and gas exploration. First, seismic charges are exploded. They disrupt wildlife and recreationists. If the data are promising, roads are built, and then a 200-foot drilling rig is erected. Even if a major find is made, it might only supply America with 3 weeks' worth of oil. If natural gas is found, signs warning of deadly hydrogen sulfide gas may be encountered on public recreation lands, including our national parks. While development brings short-term jobs to the wild Rockies, it may eliminate long-term jobs such as outfitters and guides. Don Wilson is an outfitter in Idaho.
That's the thing that we have to preserve, I think, is the wilderness feeling, you know, so that people, when they're back there, they don't run into motorcycles and cars and things as that. It's very beautiful back there. The land is fragile. The growing season is late. You know, we only experience spring in some of that country up there I was talking about in mid-July, and the flowers bloom, and it's very fragile. I think people like to get back in there and just have the quiet and really enjoy that, you know, being by the lakes.
For some, the idea that wilderness can be commercialized makes no sense at all. The wild Rockies still contain a vast area of wildlands, but they are shrinking on a daily basis and are threatened by logging, road building, oil and gas development, mining, and subdivision, to name just a few. Perhaps the last salvation for this magnificent vestige of primitive America is the preservation of large areas of federal public lands, with consideration of these lands as part of a multi-state and international bioregion. These lands belong to all Americans, but most importantly, they belong to our future generations. May they be forever wild.
Forever wild, forever wild, let it stay. Forever wild, forever wild, forever wild, let it stay. Forever wild.
Hello, this is Ron Wheeler again, and I'm coming to you live from the studios of Missoula Community Access Television, 500 North Higgins, Circle Square building, basement of the old Missoulian building. And we've just seen a series of locally produced films. We saw one by Bill Kittredge and Annick Smith on The Last Best Place, some sections with Ed Leahy and some of the most dramatic videos of Butte I think I've ever seen. We saw Gene Bernofsky and Rich Landini introducing Diet Coke Montana, filmed by Gene Bernofsky, and I would like to nominate them both for the Mackenzie Brothers Award, and would like to see them regularly doing a Great White North show from here in Missoula. They're certainly my favorites. we saw an alliance for the Wild Rockies film, and frankly I could listen to Dexter Robert talk all day, and I remember several days when I thought I had. I'd like to tell everyone in Missoula that I will not be a regular feature on your television set. I'm here as the president of MCAT today, mostly to do introductions and to interview people, but there will be more regular people out in front of your camera, and I'll try to act as a bureaucrat in your interest most of the time. I have with me another individual, Sue Purvis, from Missoula, who is interested in becoming a producer with MCAT. How are you, Sue?
Good, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do? And
I've been living in Missoula off and on for about 10 years, and I'm a geologist when I'm in town, and I travel quite a bit, and recently I bought myself an 8mm camera and decided to film at some of the places that I go to. So last fall I found out about MCAT and realized I could actually put together some of the footage that I've taken over the past year, and I'm now starting to learn how to edit my material.
well, you must visit some pretty spectacular places as a geologist.
Usually I work in Montana as a geologist and then travel.
Well, Montana's a pretty spectacular place. Anyway. 8mm, that's interesting. We have all the formats here. VHS, Super VHS, 3/4 inch SP, 3/4 inch U-matic. I don't remember seeing any 8mm equipment. What are you going to do about that problem?
Well, I've found a solution, but there's, I'm sure, a lot of viewers out there who do have 8mm cameras, and it's a consumer product. And what I'm going to do is I have probably 20 hours of tape that I need to transfer somehow, and just today I started transferring it onto a Super VHS tape, and from there I will start editing on that in their editing room.
So what you're telling everybody is that if you have 8mm equipment, it is possible to bring it in here, boot it up, so to speak, to Super VHS or even 3/4, and then do all the editing, and we'll put it on the air for you.
Right.
All right. What sorts of things do you want to produce?
Right now I'm working on a couple of Amazon stories.
Oh, wow.
And I will probably do a lot of outdoor type videos with people involved, and a lot of scenic videos with music. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go, but I'm willing to give it a try. And right now I'm volunteering quite a bit down here, and I think it'll take a lot of time. I think putting together a video requires quite a bit of time and commitment.
And love. Right?
And love,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how are you finding it down here? What's been your experience with MCAT so far?
Well, the people that work down here are very nice and willing to help out. Basically, I knew nothing about video equipment until I bought my camera a year ago. And, you know, each day that I come down here, I learn more and more about cameras and sound and editing. So in, I think, a week's time, you can really pick up a lot of information and put it to use. And there's also other people down here working on similar projects that you're working on, so you don't feel alone. You know, everybody's sort of in the same position, and you get a lot of support and feedback. And I feel that a lot of people are going to help me and give me ideas, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, we'll pay you right after this interview is over. No, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. This has got to be a Missoula-friendly place if it's going to be any place at all. You said you were going to be doing some videos involving people in the outdoors. They're going to be local people, you think?
Yes, definitely.
Missoulians?
Yeah.
Can I be one? No, I'm sorry. Maybe you could expound on that a little bit.
Actually, I'm really interested in going to the national parks and filming what goes on at the parks. And of course, that'll have a lot to do with out-of-state people because they tend to go to the parks a lot. But there's a lot of events that go on in Missoula that people miss out on, and I think it'd be nice to capture some of that and show it on television for the public.
Yeah, I agree. You said something about rainforest. There's no rainforest around here. What are you going to do? How are you going to get rainforest?
Oh, I already have all that video.
Oh, well, that's certainly worth talking about.
Yeah,
How do you get video of a rainforest?
Well, I went down to the Amazon.
A tropical rainforest, even.
The Amazon, and I had the opportunity to fly around in a Cessna Cardinal, and so I have most of my footage from the air, and I would like to share that with everybody to show anybody who's interested the devastation that's going on down there. And also I have quite a bit on a lot of the native people that I'd like to share too.
And this is all on 8mm and
8
will be
millimeter.
edited here. All right. Well, that certainly sounds interesting. What do you think is going to happen with MCAT down the road? I mean, when we start involving most of Missoula and things really get hopping, what do you think it's going to look like?
That is a good question. I really think they're going to have a big turnout in the next year, and it'll be interesting to see how they organize it, and I have a feeling they might need to expand. They'll be very busy, but it's going to be exciting. I think Missoula will really take to MCAT.
Yeah. You said that there are a lot of events happening that you don't, and a lot of people don't always get to see. Could you give us an example of something you'd like to see? Maybe we can get a producer to do it.
I'm trying to think. Actually, something that I'd like to see is a lot of this springtime beauty in the Missoula area shown on television, because you don't often get a chance to go out and see it, and you know, the rivers are up really high and the flowers are out. It's really a spectacular time, and I think if you get that feeling on television, a lot more people will go out in the outdoors during the spring.
Yeah, boy, I'd like to see more of that myself. What we're going to do is show you, I guess we'll wait for that. We're going to be seeing some more today of events that have been videotaped locally. One of the things we're going to see is some music that was done in the Butterfly downtown, and part of the celebration of Earth Week, which has been going on in Missoula for 2 weeks or more. Most of us have been totally inundated by the number of events and demands on our time, and have seen very few of these. So we hope that as the days go by and we bring you more and more of the tapes that have been shot over the past 2 weeks, that you'll get a sense of the kinds of things that you may or may not know go on in Missoula. This is an exciting town. This is an exciting time, and we think that MCAT can bring you some of the excitement.
I'm in love with you, baby. Let me ride in your automobile. I'm in love with you, baby. Let me ride in your automobile. You got a fine car, baby. Too many drivers at the wheel. You got one to drive in the daytime, one to drive at night. All you need is one driver, baby. Keep your little car running right. Whoa, baby, baby. Let me ride in your automobile. You got a fine car, baby, but too many drivers at the wheel. you, baby. Let me ride in your automobile. I'm so in love with you, baby. Let me ride in your automobile. You got a fine car, baby, but too many drivers at the wheel. The way she left sure turned my head around. It seemed like overnight the woman just up and put me down. She put me down. Ain't gonna let it bother me today. I've been working and I'm too tired anyway, but it's alright 'cause it's midnight and I got 2 more bottles of wine. Well, I'm 1,600 miles from the people I know. I've been doing what I can, but opportunity sure comes slow. I thought I thought a big star by today, but I'm sweeping out a warehouse in West LA. But it's alright 'cause it's midnight. I got 2 more bottles of wine. Well, 1,600 miles from the people I know. I've been doing what I can, but opportunity sure comes slow. Slow. I thought I'd be a star by today, but I'm sweeping out a warehouse in West LA. But it's alright 'cause it's midnight. I got 2 more bottles of wine. Yes, it's alright 'cause it's midnight. I got 2 more bottles of wine. Yes, it's alright 'cause it's midnight. I got 2 more bottles of wine.
Two, three.
How much rope you gonna give yourself? How much slack do you need? In order not to hang yourself up on the street. You say you learned your lesson, but I know that that ain't true. When I see that feeling come over, I don't blame you, baby, 'cause it really ain't no use. And I believe that you believe you're searching for the truth. I don't know what hope that around the downtown has on you. Keep on shaking, baby, till you shake yourself loose. I'm not running away from trouble, walking away from an accident, or the personality double. No hole with her head. Ain't nothing I can say. ain't nothing I can do. When I see that feeling come over you, I don't blame you, baby, 'cause it really ain't no use. I believe that you believe you're searching for the truth. I don't know what hold that around the downtown has on you. Keep on shaking, baby, till you shake yourself loose. I don't blame you, baby, 'cause it really ain't no use. I believe that you believe you're searching for the truth. I don't know what hold that around the downtown has on you. Keep on shaking, baby, till you shake yourself loose. No, I don't want much, I just want a little bit. No, I don't want it all, I just want a little bit. I want a itty bitty bit, just a teeny weeny bit. Turn your lights down low, slip me a kiss. Well, turn your lights down low, I just can't resist. I want a itty bitty bit, just a teeny weeny bit.
I want you forever till the end of time. Please say you never leave me. Say you always be mine, 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 mine. I want a itty weeny bit, just a teeny weeny bit of your love. 'Cause I don't want it all, I just want a little bit. I don't want it all now, baby. I just got to have a little bit, a little bit, a little bit of itty weeny bit, just a teeny weeny bit of your love.
Turn your lights down low, slip me a kiss. Turn your lights down low, I just can't resist. I want a itty weeny bit, just a teeny weeny bit. I want a itty weeny bit, just a teeny weeny bit. I want a itty weeny bit, just a teeny weeny bit of your love.
Didn't he know what he was doing? Putting eyes inside my head. If he didn't want me watching women, he left my eyeball dead. Isn't that so? Isn't that so? You gotta go where your heart says go. Isn't that so?
Didn't you know that he was dead when he made that tragic crime? His own son got a reputation, turning water into wine. Isn't that so? Isn't that so? You gotta go where your heart says go. Isn't that so?
resistance, lead me on, lead me on. Line of least resistance, lead me on. Didn't he know what he was doing when he divided high from low? You got to bury the seed in the dirt, my friend, if you want the thing to grow. Isn't that so? Isn't that so? You gotta go where your heart says go. Isn't that so? Line of least resistance, lead me on, lead me on. Line of least resistance, lead me on.
Thank you.
Left her at the central line. Guess this will be the last time. She's always making her own tracks. I can't carry a train on my back. Yeah, she had her own thing to do. Yeah, she had something more to prove. Well, I don't know which way is clear. Maybe it's the path of my next fear. Maybe I could try love one more time. Learn how my heart can never be mine. Yes, I'll see what I can do. Yes, I'll see what I can prove. Wayward bound and I can't slow down. I lose my way and I can't be found. The way ain't clear, but salvation is near. 4 more miles to my next pier. Saw the light one Saturday night. Could have been the stars from a barroom fight. Well, doesn't matter what's said and done. I guess it was just on the run. Yes, I did what I could do. Yes, I proved what I could prove. Wayward bound and I can't slow down. I lose my way and I can't be found. The way ain't clear, salvation is near. 4 more miles to my next pier.
playing something like this kind of makes you realize how it is to be naked in public.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We're going to deconstruct this song right before your very eyes.
Skeletal structure here.
Junior Wells is going to come and kill me in my sleep for this.
Well, Junior Wells doesn't do it.
No, he doesn't. He wouldn't want to hear it anyway.
Early in the morning about the break of day, hugging on a pillow where my baby used to lay. Crying on my pleading don't do no good. Come back, baby, I wish you would. 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 Because I love you, mama, can't help myself. I wouldn't mistreat you for nobody else. Crying on my bleeding don't do me no good. Come back, baby, I wish you would. 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 I love you, babe, I can't help myself. Wouldn't mistreat you for nobody else. Crying on my pleading don't do no good. Come back, baby, I wish you would. 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 Because I'm staying out and drinking all night long. That's what pulled my baby away from home. Crying and pleading don't do no good. Come back, baby, I wish you would. Come back, baby, I wish you would. Come back, baby, I wish you would. Come back, baby, come back.
Good evening and welcome to Butterfly Arrows here. I'd like to thank Montana Community Access TV and Artemis Productions for doing this tonight. My name's Paul Kelly and over here on the harmonica. I don't know who this guy is. Where did he come from? That's Spell Hamilton. I'm going to start off with one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite singers of all time, Mr. Sam Cooke. Don't know much about history. Don't know much about biology. Don't know much about science books. Can't remember all the French I took. But I do know that I love you. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Don't know much about geography. Don't know much trigonometry. Don't know much about algebra. Don't even know what a slide rule is for. But I do know 1 and 1 is 2. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Now I don't claim to be an A student, but I'm trying to be. 'Cause maybe by being an A student, maybe that could win your love for me. Yeah. all the French I took, but I do know that I love you. And I know that if you loved me too, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, baby, hey, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world this could be. Oh, darling, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world this could be. Life, love, death, etc. in the big city. I'm putting tinfoil up on the windows. I'm lying down in the dark to dream. I don't want to see their faces. I don't want to hear them scream. Splendid isolation. I don't need no one. Splendid isolation. I wanna live all alone in the desert. I wanna be like Georgia O'Keeffe. I wanna live on the Upper East Side and never go down to the street. Splendid isolation. I don't need no one. Splendid isolation. Yeah, all right. Don't wanna wake up with no one beside me. Don't wanna cheek up with nobody new. Don't want nobody coming by without calling first. Don't want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. I'm putting tinfoil up on the windows. I'm lying down in the dark to dream. I don't want to see their faces. I don't want to hear their screams. Splendid isolation. I don't need no one. Splendid isolation. Splendid isolation. I don't need no one. Splendid isolation. Oh, isolation. Oh, so splendid isolation. Splendid isolation. Oh, yeah. From Liechtenstein, it's a little country. It's an old joke, too. There's an old car that's parked outside the door, but there's no one here to drive it anymore. The keys collecting dust on the piano, 'cause there's no one here to play it anymore. against the gear shift, and your hands felt so warm against my will. I can still smell your perfume through the music, and the car don't drive, but your memory rolls the wheel. All right. There's an old sheet of music on the piano, but there's no one here to play it anymore. And your voice is still a shadow on my memory, but that sound isn't welcome anymore. Now your legs look so fine against the gear shift, and your hands felt so warm against my will. I can still smell your perfume through the music, but the car don't drive and your memory rolls the wheel. But the car don't drive and your memory rolls the wheel. And the car don't drive, but your memory rolls the wheel. Well, thank you very much. This song written by a friend of mine down in Texas named Billy Doak Sneed. I heard a song just last Friday night that took me back to my childhood, to those good old days, to the gentle hours of morning when all there was to do was play, to the days that I ate, drank, and slept willy-nilly. Do you remember when Superman used to swoop across the screen and he'd take you along? When your sister blamed you when you hadn't even done nothing wrong, but expected you to forget her little slip of the tongue. Remember, do you remember when a song could make your heart tumble? And when a spat could make your world crumble, and when a kiss could put you in heaven, when you were 6 but you wished you were 7, and in the 2nd grade you to sleep, but you would hop out of bed just to take a little pea. And you didn't know your mother was programmed to weep, but you knew it was a secret that inside you should keep. Remember, do you remember when they would break up, then turn around and make up? How they would spank you, then turn around and thank you for just being alive. And now I laugh as I start to recall how I enjoyed being up, but regretted the fall, and all the loves I once loved that weren't really love at all. Remember, do you remember when you were down and crying and lonely? Then all these moments, well, they made you so happy when you realized that the whole world was changing, and you realized that you too were changing from a boy into a man. Yesterdays and rainbow, rainbow. Thank you. There'll never be anyone else but you for me. Never ever be, just couldn't be anyone else but you. If I could take my pick of all the girls I'd ever known, then I'd come and pick you out to be my very own.
Well, hi there. We're back again. I'm Ron Wheeler, and we are live from Missoula Community Access Television at 500 North Higgins. Non-commercial, locally produced public access for Missoula. And we've just been watching Phil and Paul and Vic and John getting down with the blues at the Butterfly. If you didn't make the concert, you get to see it today. And if you don't see it today, tell your neighbors to watch it on Tuesday. It will be on again. By the way, there's some things happening in Missoula today that you probably already know about, and if you don't, you should. There's still time to make it to the Earth Day dance on Main Street outside of the Ecology Center. And KUFM is kicking off their fundraiser today, and you've probably already heard that. I'd like to tell you that please put a mark on your calendar for June 2nd, because that's going to be our grand opening, and we'll have an open house and a street party for everyone to come down and see what we have to offer. I'd like to cut away for just a moment or two and give you a few more greetings from people in Missoula to welcome MCAT to the airways or the cableways.
Set off barbecue sound. It's affected young people all at once. It's all been affected in the wide. There's all sorts of mean nasty
Yo, MCAT, welcome to Missoula.
Welcome to Missoula, MCAT.
Well, you can see that we do tend to have a good time down here producing our own television. If you've tuned in late and you don't know what you're watching, you are watching Missoula Community Access Television, a facility supplied by the city for their residents where you are invited to produce your own television programming. We can offer you equipment, we can offer you training, and we will put your program on a dedicated cable channel. I think that some thanks are in order. The people that have worked in Missoula over the last 10 years are legion, and I can't begin to name them. But let me tell you that to my sorrow, I am sorry that McCarthy Coyle is not here to see this. Perhaps he'll be here for our open house. I would like to thank all the people who served on the Citizens Committee, all the people who served on the Board of Directors, and those of us who still do, I think deserve an awful lot of credit. I think we would be remiss not to mention the City Council and a whole lineup of mayors who have helped us to make this come true. And finally, TCI, who has granted the City of Missoula this cable access. So thank you, one and all. We'd like to go to another cut before we leave, but when we come back to our further programming, we're going to show an interesting program on the performing arts in Missoula, one that was produced at KUSM in Bozeman, the budding public television station there. An interesting program on the performing arts and the sorts of things that may or may not be appropriate for public viewing.
And check this out, folks. And it blew up with a hurricane and all his hairspray is in the air. And when the hurricane, I was stuck in.
And there you have it, folks. You have about his hair.
Don't
say anything. And don't let your body come out the other way. Hear me on this? Don't look at the camera, look at the back of the head. Now you're getting too spaced out, Nick.
Left, right, left, right, left, right. Take no bigger steps.
One of the great all-time haircuts. Just in closing, I'd like to invite everyone in Missoula to come down to 500 North Higgins, to the Circle Square building, look us over. Find out what we have to offer to you. Please come down and participate. We need your help. We need your programming. We want you on the air. Happy Earth Day.